Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, October 27th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working a night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Pat Brown, chief detective. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from Central Division, and it was 15 minutes past 8 p.m. when we got to South Peoria Street. Number 267.
Sure gloomy,
Yeah, it's sultry.
Looks like we're in for some rain.
Yes, sir?
Police officers, Lieutenant Barker here.
Yes, you want to come in?
Thanks.
This is Sergeant Romero. I'm Sergeant Friday, Central Homicide.
How are you? My name's Claude Jimmerson. Lieutenant Barker's in here on the phone.
All right, Sam. Yeah. Now listen. Romero, Friday?
How's it going, Lieutenant?
That's good. You met Mr. Jimmerson?
Oh, sure. Sit down, gentlemen. Would you like some coffee? I can have the
No,
wife make
thanks.
some.
No, thank
We
you.
didn't want to bother the girl's parents any more than we had to. Jimmerson here is one of the neighbors. He's been nice enough to let us use his phone.
The kid disappeared about 4 this afternoon, is that right?
At 3:45. Got out a local broadcast on him. Here's a missing report.
Thelma Griswold, age 11. Barbara Sperry, 7-year-old. We talked to both families.
Yeah. At 3:30 this afternoon, Mrs. Griswold sent her daughter to the grocery store down on Sycamore Avenue. About 10 blocks from their home. The Sperry girl, a friend of hers, she went with her.
Anybody at the store remember seeing them?
According to the grocery clerk, they were there about 3:45. Mother gave the kids a note. She bought a loaf of white bread, a half pound of bacon, a dozen onions.
Yeah.
That's right, Sergeant. I hope nothing's happened to the kids. We've been neighbors to the Griswolds for years. Sperry's, too.
Did you notice if the little girls were going in the direction of their home?
Yes, they were. The last time I saw them, they were about a block away, heading straight for home. Little Sperry girl had her dog with her. Champ, I think they call him. He's a collie.
And he's missing, too.
That's right, Joe. Not a trace of the kids or the dog. Juvenile officers from 77th Street have been checking the neighborhood for the past 3 hours.
Are the girls in the habit of wandering off like this?
Parents say no. It's the first time.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks very much, Mr. Jimmerson.
Well, not at all, Sergeant. So you won't have a cup of coffee?
No, thanks. We don't like to bother you, but we may have to check back with you later tonight. Routine questions.
If I can help out in any way to find those girls, let me know.
Yeah, we'll let you know, Jim. Thanks again.
Nice fellow.
Most of the neighbors we talked to have been the same, anxious to help. Some of them are out with our juvenile officers now trying to pick up a lead on the kids.
You check the movie theater and the playgrounds in the neighborhood.
Everything do.
Those some of your men from juvenile, Lieutenant?
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, Schwartz and Preston.
Huh?
Yeah, Preston, what you got?
Found the kid's dog, Tully.
Where?
Just above Sanchez Drive up in the hills. Hope it's no indication.
How do you mean?
Dog's dead.
The collie dog was taken to a veterinarian on Jefferson Boulevard to be examined for cause of death. We put in a call to the office, and a special detail of men was assigned to aid in searching the area where the dog was discovered. We got out an all-points bulletin. The fathers of the missing girls and a dozen neighbors joined in the search. With the aid of flashlights, we started from the end of Sanchez Drive, and as best we could, we covered the ground for almost a full mile back into the Sunset Hills. 10:55 p.m. started to thunder. The search went on. The hilly terrain and thick patches of scrub oak didn't make the job any easier. 11:15 p.m. started to rain.
What's your tip, Joe? A rock or slipper?
Yeah. I can't figure it. Not a sign.
What do you think?
I don't know. Wait a minute. Flash your light over here. No, here.
See something?
I thought I did. Yeah. Scrap of brown paper.
Who's this coming?
Sergeant, is that you?
Oh, Jimmerson? Yeah. What's that you got?
I found it. Right down there, just off the path.
Paper stack.
Look.
Loaf of bread, 2 oranges, package of bacon.
Where'd you find it?
Right down there. Mr. Holmquist and me, we were heading back for the cars when I saw this bag lying to one side of the bush.
We'll take it, Jimmerson. Thanks. Let's go, man.
That means that Barbara and Thelma were up here today.
You haven't mentioned that to either one of the girls' fathers.
No, I haven't.
Good. They're having a hard enough time as it is.
Friday, Ben, you in for a minute?
Yeah.
Excuse us, Mr. Jimmerson.
Certainly.
Yeah?
Schwartz and I checked with the vet who examined the dog. What did he say? Says the dog was beaten to death.
We made another attempt to continue the search of the Sunset Hills area for the two missing girls, but the heavy rain and the darkness made the job impossible. The rain had also destroyed the physical evidence at the spot where we had found the grocery bag. We went back to Jimmerson's house and called the office again. Another detail of men was assigned to be on hand to help in the search when it resumed at daylight. Chief Detectives Thad Brown and Captain Harry Elliott of Homicide were notified of late developments. At 25 minutes past midnight, we started to retrace the steps of the two missing girls from the time they left their homes at 3:30 the afternoon before. We covered every foot of ground along the route which the girls reportedly took on their way to the grocery store. We got the grocery clerk out of bed and interviewed him again. We talked with two elderly ladies in the neighborhood who said that they had seen the missing children between 3 and 4 p.m. the previous afternoon. They could add nothing to what Jimmerson had already told us. 3:30 a.m. It was still raining hard. We drove back to South Peoria Street and sat in the car. The lights were still burning in the homes of the missing youngsters, the Griswolds and the Sperrys. Jimmerson asked us in for coffee again. This time we accepted. We went in and sat around the kitchen table. Glenn Chandler and Stendhal from Homicide, Lieutenant Barker, Ben, and myself. Jimmerson's wife made the coffee. There wasn't much talking.
You want more coffee?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Miss Jimmerson. Thank you.
You want some more?
No, thanks, it's fine.
You want some more coffee?
Sure, Lieutenant. Patty, go ahead. Fill the sugar bowl, will you, Amy? Empty.
There isn't any more. You never do things right. I told you to get some at the store today.
You told me?
Yeah, that's all right, Jimmerson. Never use it anyway.
Never do anything right.
All right, Amy, go to bed. Feel a little upset. Not feeling too well.
Well, I guess we better be going, Jimmerson. Thanks.
No, that's all right, Sergeant. She didn't mean you. It's this whole thing, I guess. Got everybody on edge. There's still a chance they may be all right.
How do we explain the bag of groceries we found back in the hills and the dog?
If anybody's hurt those kids, we'll take care of them right here in this neighborhood. You'll get what's coming to us.
Somebody's your back door.
Oh, yeah, Dalton. Sergeant Friday here? Yes, sir. Come on in. Sergeant.
All right, Tom.
Sorry.
What do you got?
Mr. Griswold, Joe. Said he'd like to have you come over and talk to him. Says it'll make his wife feel better, all broken up.
Sure. Come on, Ben. We'll be over to Griswold, Lieutenant.
Right. Thanks for the coffee, Jimmy. Not at all. If you get a chance, tell Griswold how sorry everybody is. We'll help all we can.
Sure.
Bad night.
Yeah. Did you check by the Sperry's house, Tom?
Mm-hmm. Mother's trying to get a little sleep. Father's still sitting up. There he is, by the window.
Yeah.
This is the Griswold home.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah. They're going to ask questions. What are we going to tell them?
I don't know.
They could be all right. They could do funny things sometimes.
Maybe, but they don't murder their pet dog. Like a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, the police officer comes to realize that there's only so much that can be learned from his book. Time and experience make up the rest. The police manual contains no stock answers for the grieving wife who has just lost a husband in an auto accident. No firm but polite reply to the belligerent motorist handed a traffic tag. No words of reassurance to distraught parents of missing girls, ages 11 and 7. Whether trapping criminals or comforting parents, you find the right answer the hard way. There isn't any other way. We sat and talked with the Griswolds for a full hour. We didn't tell them about the dog or the bag of groceries. Until the fate of the two little girls was definitely decided, we figured giving them the information would serve no purpose except to add to their worry. 5 minutes past 5 a.m. Almost a full hour until daylight. It was still raining.
George, maybe the ostrich would like some breakfast. before they leave?
No, thank you kindly, Miss Griswold. We had some sandwiches about an hour ago.
Sure I can't fix you something? No trouble?
No, sir. Thanks, anyway.
Terrible night. Rain.
And now, Helen, just a little while longer. We'll find the girls. It'll be daylight soon.
Miss Griswold, some of your neighbors tell us that there were two strangers here in the neighborhood this afternoon.
Yeah. But that was earlier. Mrs. Nelson next door and I were talking about it. One was the gardener looking for work. The other one was silent working.
What time were they around, Miss?
Folks here was here about noon. The gardener was about 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. How is your daughter about strangers? Does she make friends easily?
No, not at all. Selma's very careful about that. She'd never go with a stranger, I'm sure.
Why do you ask that question, Sergeant? Have you found out something?
No, sir. No, we haven't. It's just a routine check, that's all.
I don't understand it. The girl. Out in all this rain, something must have happened, I know.
Now, Helen, you've been doing fine. Don't let down now.
Joe? Miss Brown's car just pulled up outside. Thanks. Ben?
Yeah?
Thank you very much, Mr. Griswold. Miss Griswold.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Here, let me show you the door.
We'll meet at the end of Sanford's Drive, Mr. Griswold, about 6 a.m. It should be light enough by then.
Oh, all right. Oh, Sergeant, there is a chance, isn't there? Girls are all right.
There's a good chance. You try not to worry. Come on, Ben. Faster. Tom, you want to check with Barker again and see if any of his men have a line on the two men here in the neighborhood yet?
Right.
If you want us, we'll be in Pat Brown's car.
Right, Sergeant.
What time you got, Joe? 20 to 6. It's getting light now.
Yeah. Let's get out of this rain. Gentlemen, you look a little wet.
I could stand a dry pair of shoes.
Still no trace of the kids?
You heard about the dog and the bag of groceries?
Yeah. Nothing else sensitive?
No. It'll be light in a couple of minutes, and we can start searching the hills again.
I ordered up another detail of men to help. They're parked up on Sanford's Drive. Captain Elliott's with them.
Good. We can use all the help we can get. This rough terrain. There's a lot of ground to cover up there.
Did you talk to everybody in the neighborhood?
Yeah. Parents, too.
They help you much?
Well, they told us there were two strangers in the neighborhood before the girls disappeared. We're having them checked out.
Yeah.
Griswold thinks the kids would be safe on that count. Says his daughter's afraid of strangers, never goes near them.
Mm-hmm. How much area did you fill in the hills last night?
About a full mile, would you say, Ben? Starting from Sanford's Drive straight back into the brush. It wasn't too thorough. Not enough men, not enough life.
You got plenty of both right now.
10 minutes past 6 a.m., Tuesday, October 28th. The search of the Sunset Hills area would resume. 150 officers spread out over a 2-square-mile area with orders to probe every foot of ground. With them were almost 50 volunteers from the neighborhood. The rain settled to a cold, steady downpour. The mud was ankle deep. 8:30 a.m., no sign of the missing youngsters. 10:30, still no sign. Search went on. The neighborhood restaurant owner sent out 5-gallon jugs of hot coffee for members of the searching party. After 6 continuous hours combing the hill, still no result. Chief Brown, Ben, and I went to the car for a cup of coffee and a cigarette.
Had me beat. Those kids wandered off. They had to come in this direction.
Well, they couldn't have headed toward town. Somebody would have noticed them, sure.
Yeah. No leads at all on that ATV you sent out?
2. They both fizzled.
The youngsters up in those hills someplace. Gotta be. You two ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
Sure doesn't fit. 2 square miles. We've been over it twice.
You can go over it again. Find them.
Selma Griswold, age 11. Barbara Sperry, age 7. Tuesday, October 28th, 2 p.m. They were still missing. Another detail of men from Metropolitan Division were dispatched to aid in the hunt. The daily newspapers played the story across the front page. Wire services, bulletins and news across the country. Radio newscasters covered the story at the scene. On South Peoria Street, the 2 mothers sat in their homes and waited. The search went on. It stopped raining.
Did you cover that patch of underbrush over there, Joe?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's hard.
Oh, yeah. Let's swing up this way.
All right.
Anything?
No, nothing.
All right, come on. Almost 2:30.
Yeah, too much coffee. Sour stomach.
Me too. You got a cigarette on mouth?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Watson, what do you got? What is it?
Come on. Watch it in that spot here.
Yeah, slippery.
About 4 feet 6 inches tall. She had a bunch of wildflowers in her hands. Barbara Sperry had blonde hair and blue eyes. She held a bunch of wildflowers, too. Party? See? Who found them?
Jimmerson, some of the neighbors.
Oh.
Yes, Preston.
Yes, sir?
Get something and cover him up.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
Been a cop 32 years and never seen anything like that. I hope I never do again.
Must have been a maniac. Had to be.
The lowest crime, depraved.
Anybody call the crime lab?
Yeah, the area's been cleared.
Family's been notified?
Not yet. I'll have to tell them. You want to come along?
No, that wouldn't do any good.
2 lives. What can you say?
Whoever did it ran up a big bill.
They're going to pay it. You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
After the bodies were discovered, the hunt for the psychopathic killer was underway. Lee Jones and his crew from the crime lab arrived and took pictures of everything that could possibly have a bearing on the crime. Physical evidence was hard to find. The heavy rain had destroyed any possible chance there might have been of finding footprints. When the crew from the crime lab was finished, the coroner arrived and took the bodies to the county morgue for autopsy. An immediate roundup of all known sexual psychopaths in the area was ordered. They were taken into homicide for questioning. So were the people from the South Peoria Street neighborhood whom we had talked with previously. The questioning went on all through the night, together with a half a dozen officers from homicide who narrowed down the field. Wednesday, October 29th, 7 a.m., we checked in with Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
Gentlemen, what's the start?
Had a few hours sleep last night. Here's a few more.
Sorry, we have to keep moving on this.
You see the papers this morning?
Yeah, they're like everybody else, crying too late. Someday people are going to learn you don't fool with these degenerates. You take precautions, you get the consequences. There's no in between.
The usual talk going around town. Supposed to be all our fault, letting the psychos run loose.
Now, we don't make the laws, we enforce them. So we got something to work with. Laws with teeth in them. These atrocities are going to go on.
Nobody seems to care. We pick them up, they serve a few days, pay a fine, and they walk out of here. Nobody cares.
Sure, pity them. Don't cure them. Nature played a trick on them. Feel sorry for them till they kill a kid. Not a firm law to cover them as they are. We have to wait till they murder somebody.
We got a better law for mad dogs. We don't let them run loose till they bite somebody.
Those 2 little girls ought to prove something. How's the parents making out?
What you might expect. Shocked, dead. Excuse me.
Brown speaking.
Who? Sonderman. Chandler. You finished questioning that bunch we brought in yesterday.
Oh, Chief. Ben, Joe. How many possibles, Glenn?
None. 4 we had left established airtight alibis. We checked the registrations, gave them no releases.
Where does that leave us?
We start from scratch. I don't think so, Chief.
You got a hunch?
A little better than that, Joe. I'm sold. What do you mean? You said the parents told you the little girls were afraid of strangers, wouldn't go near them.
Yeah, that's right.
You got the same reaction from some of the neighbors we talked to the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
Now we find out that all the known psychos in the area are clear, perfect alibis.
Then you figure the killer couldn't have been a stranger to the little girl.
That's right. There were only 2 strangers in the whole neighborhood the day the girls disappeared, the gardener and the salesman. And both of them have been checked and cleared.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we know, the little girls wouldn't have gone that far up in the hills alone of their own accord, and they wouldn't have gone with a stranger. They had to be lured there and by someone they knew.
Any ideas?
Could have been one of the neighbors.
No, we checked every possible out there, Glenn. We questioned him a half a dozen times.
So have I. There's one that might fit.
Who's that?
Claude Jimmerson.
Glenn Chandler had been a veteran homicide officer before Ben and I joined the department. He was tall, quiet, and reserved. He had a good reason for everything he did, for everything he thought. The three of us sat down and tried to put the pieces together. Number one, Chandler uncovered a point that Ben and I had missed completely. Jimmerson and his wife were not close friends of either the Sperry family or the Griswolds. For a near stranger, he showed an extraordinary interest in the welfare of the children after they disappeared. Number two, Ben and I discovered that Jimmerson's wife had an 8-year-old boy by a previous marriage. The child did not live with them. Mrs. Jimmerson told Chandler that her husband had been cruel to the boy. He refused to elaborate. Number three, Jimmerson was the last person to see the children alive. Number four, the bodies of the children had been well hidden in the underbrush. Jimmerson found them. Number five, Jimmerson had bent over backwards to make friends with the investigating officers right from the start. As any veteran officer can tell you, that's not the usual attitude. At 8:30 a.m., Chandler, Ben, and I left the office. We spent the day digging back 15 years into Jimmerson's life. We got back to the office just after midnight. Thursday, October 30th, 10 a.m. We checked in.
Okay, Joe, all right.
Thanks. Come on, Ben.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Jimmerson.
Oh. How are you, Sergeant? Glad to see you.
Sit down. Sorry to bother you again.
Not at all. Glad to help. Anything new turn up?
Did you kill those two little girls?
That's a funny thing to ask. Of course not. You know that.
We ask everybody the same thing. Hope you're not offended.
Oh, you kind of surprised me. I didn't know.
Did you kill those little girls?
I don't understand. I told you no. Of course not.
Just our question, routine. Did you kill them?
Now, look, Sergeant, how many times do I have to tell you no?
Sorry. You don't have any children, do you?
No, we don't.
No stepchildren?
No. Why?
Before you moved out to South Peoria Street, you and the wife lived out in West L.A., didn't you? Shelton Avenue?
Oh, yes. How'd you know?
You recall a Mary Gibbs out there?
Gibbs? No.
6-year-old girl? You were charged with molesting her. That was back in 1944.
They were crazy. They never proved it.
Before Shelton Avenue, you lived in Santa Monica on 10th Street. Is that right?
Yes.
It was an 8-year-old girl. Donna Honrad?
That kid died, too. She asked me to fix a doll buggy. I never went near her.
What about your stepson? Why isn't he living with you? Why did your wife send him to live with your sister?
Amy's crazy. I never harmed the boy. He didn't get along, that's all. He got on my nerves.
You've had 4 jobs in the past 5 years. What were they?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You were a janitor at a grammar school down the south end of town, then a gardener at a children's playground, then you were a shoe salesman, children's shoes, then you worked at another grammar school.
What does all this mean, anyway? What are you getting at?
Have you ever been in jail?
Well, 6 months, there was some trouble.
What kind of trouble?
I didn't know what I was doing. I was drinking. I didn't mean to bother the kid. Well,
that's all, Jimmerson. Routine question. You can go now.
Oh, thanks. I hope you haven't got the wrong idea about me. I like children, that's all.
Sure. Thanks for coming in.
Not at all, Sergeant. Anything I can do to help. Well, goodbye.
Okay, Jimmerson, I almost forgot. There is one thing.
Oh?
Since you're the one who found the little girls, we'll have to have you identify the bodies.
It won't take long. More just across the street, up the block.
Well, I'd like to help you, but I got an appointment.
All you have to do is look at them. Won't take you long. Come on, let's go.
I'd like to help, Sergeant, but I don't take these things where I get sick.
We'll make it fast. Up this way.
It's raining again.
I'm sorry, Sergeant. I don't think I'd better go.
Just identify them, that's all. It'll take a minute.
Maybe if we had a drink before we went in.
You can have one after.
And watch it. There's heavy traffic.
Yeah, lights, we'll have to wait.
I need a drink. I can't go in that place without a drink.
You'll be all right. Okay, let's go. Morgue's up this way.
I can't look at him. I get sick. Don't make me.
Nothing to it. You'll see.
Here we are. Coming down the driveway. It's a shortcut.
This way.
Selma Griswold. Barbara Sperry.
Oh, yeah. This way.
Please.
Right here, Joe. Yeah, Selma Griswold.
Uncover. Jimmerson? Yeah. Jump. This one. Barbara. Little one. You killed him, didn't you? The dog jumped at me. She started to yell. Put my hand over her mouth. Then the other kid. I hit them too hard. I'm crying.
Joe?
That's all.
All right.
Huh? Let's go.
It wasn't my fault. I liked you. I didn't understand.
Neither do I, mister. Come on.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent. On March 18th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here's the actual report.
From coast to coast, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
They find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes. Claude Willis Jimmerson was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. On April 23rd at 10 a.m., he was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 16 persons have been robbed and beaten senseless. The victims describe the assailant as a tall, beautiful woman. Your job, stop her.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Ladies and gentlemen, next week marks the beginning of National Crime Prevention Week, sponsored by your local police department. These 7 days are set aside to call your attention to the fact that your police officer, to better ensure the safety of your community, relies on the cooperation of the individual citizen. We feel that crime prevention should be observed not 7, but 365 days a year.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, October 3rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. We were on the way over from the city hall, and it was 6:55 p.m. when we got to the county hospital. Ward 9800, room 12.
This way, gentlemen. The third, Ben.
Thank you.
Here we are. Please try not to excite him, Sergeant. He's had a pretty hard time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Make your visit as brief as possible.
We will, thanks. Mr. Maloney, how you feeling?
Not so good. You fellas doctors?
No, sir. Police officers. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday. Robbery detail.
Oh. Find out anything yet?
Still checking, Mr. Maloney. We'd like to have you tell us exactly what happened night before last.
Well, she sure had me fooled. That's all I can say.
You're not the first one. 15 others ahead of you. Would you tell us what happened?
Well, I left the shop a little after midnight, and I started to drive home out Central Avenue.
You work at Maloney's Steakhouse down on South Commercial, isn't that right?
Yes, sir. My uncle owns the place. His name's J. Brown Maloney. He knows a lot of cops. You know him?
We met him this afternoon. Could you tell us what happened after you left work?
Well, I started to drive home out Central Avenue. I guess it must have been around 18th Street. Would you push that bill up a little bit?
Yes, sir. I'll get it here. How's that?
Thanks. I pulled up for the arterial. I saw this gal standing on the corner. She was hitchhiking.
Do you remember what she looked like, how she was dressed?
Well, you know, kind of flashy, but nice clothes. Good-looking dame. Tall, long blonde hair. Beautiful eyes.
You're sure about the color of her hair?
Yeah, it was blonde.
And you offered her a ride?
I didn't think there was anything wrong in it. I'm a married man, you know. I didn't think there was anything wrong.
What happened then?
Well, she got in a car and we drove off. We talked a while and she pulled a gun on me. Told me to drive up an alley.
Where was that? Do you remember?
Around 32nd Street. 32nd is Central.
And then what?
She took my wallet, watch, car keys, everything I had.
Mm-hmm.
And she made me get out of the car, lay down on the street. I felt her shove that gun again. Can you fix that pillow?
Yeah, you bet. Just lie still here. There you are.
I felt her shove that gun against me, and then she pulled the trigger, I guess. That's all I remember.
You don't recall her slugging you?
It must have happened after she shot me. Her face looks pretty bad, huh?
You'll be all right, Mr. Maloney. You think you'd recognize the girl if you saw her again?
I sure would. Nice looking, you know. Tall, blonde, beautiful shape. Doesn't figure, does it?
What's that?
She'd make more money on the stage than she would rolling guys like me. Must be crazy.
Maybe. Did you look at these mug shots, Mr. Maloney, and see if any of these look like her?
Let's see.
Yeah. This one?
No.
What about this one here?
No. Let's see. No.
How about this one?
No, she was better looking.
Well, here's the last one.
I don't know. This might be her. The hair was fixed right. Maybe a little more makeup. I'm not sure.
All right, Mr. Maloney. Thank you.
We'll be back to see you in a day or so when you're feeling better.
Okay. Say, my name won't be in the papers, will it?
No, sir, not unless you give it to him.
I was just wondering, a wife might not understand giving a girl a ride, you know?
Yes, sir, we know.
Well, thank you, Mr. Maloney. We'll be checking back with you later on.
Okay, officers. I hope you get a line on that dame.
We're going to try. Goodbye.
Sure messed up, isn't it?
Yeah. That dame's got some other motive besides money.
Psycho. Some kind of a sadist, maybe.
Yeah.
Find out what you wanted, Sergeant.
Yes, we did. Thanks, nurse. What'd the doctor say about Maloney? Is he going to be all right?
Well, he had a severe beating, but he'll get over that all right. It's the bullet wound in the back.
He'll recover, won't he?
The bullet shattered part of the spinal cord. There was nothing the doctor could do.
Yeah?
Paraplegia. He'll never walk again.
We left the county hospital, went back to the office, and got out a local broadcast for the woman whose mugshot Maloney had partially identified. Her name was Beverly Allen. She had a record of 3 arrests and 1 conviction of 240 PC, assault and battery. After we checked in the office, we went across the street to the crime lab. Lee Jones had already examined the bullet taken from Maloney's spine and the cartridge casing found at the scene of the shooting. Both of them bore the same markings as those which had wounded the 2 previous victims. From the striations, the gun had been previously identified as a .45 Colt. Maloney's car was examined. We found nothing. We went back to the city hall and checked in at the stats office. It was 8:35 p.m.
Hi, Ethel. Make that run for us yet?
Just a minute, Sergeant.
How you coming, Ethel?
Fine, here. Same old run. Went back 7 years on this one.
Yeah, that's right. Did you get any more names?
A few. Let me check the list for you.
All right.
Wanted the names and DR numbers on Caucasian women. 5 feet to 5 feet 8, 115 to 130 pounds, 20 to 30 years, blonde or brunette, assault and battery, M.O. Hitchhikes, rides, and robs drivers, uses gun.
Yeah, that's it.
Here's what the machine turned out, 19 of them.
Good.
Here are the names. The DR numbers opposite each one.
Fine. Is there any new names?
A few more than the last time. Anything else for the night?
No, that's it for now. Thanks a lot, Ethel. Let's go. Bad start.
How's that?
17 of these names we checked and cleared already.
And the other 2?
Well, one's Catherine Collins. The other one's Beverly Allen. She might tie in.
We got nothing else to go on.
You want to get to the record bureau and pull the packages on these 2 names?
Yeah, okay.
I'll check robbery and see if we have any calls, huh?
All right, Joe.
Okay. Hi, Captain. Any calls for us?
Just one. Thad Brown wants to see you.
Oh, bad mood?
Kind of. Wants me, too. Let's go. That fellow Maloney tell you anything?
Nothing that helped much. Same old story. No reports on that broadcast we put out for that Beverly Allen?
Not yet? No. You banking on it?
It's first lead in 16 nights.
Here we are.
Walker, Friday, come in.
How are you, boss?
Sit down.
Thank
Take
you.
a look.
Woman bandit gets 16th victim. Beautiful hold-up queen robs, shoots restaurant worker. Yeah?
It's on the editorial page, too. Something else. Memo from the chief. Here, letter from the Downtown Citizens Committee. Another one, Civic Club. They all want answers.
Men are doing all they can, Chief. We got 2 other teams besides Friday and Romero working the case. Special squad from Metropolitan Division. They're on it, too.
I don't care what we've done. We got to do more. 16 nights, 16 robberies, and 3 shootings. 3 victims still in the hospital. When did we blow the whistle on her?
We've checked out every possible lead, Chief. We got a warrant out on one suspect. We're checking out another one. Talked to that man Maloney, the one she got last night.
Well, what did he tell you?
Well, not much more than the other 15 that she took. Descriptions still don't match in one respect.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, in 10 of the 16 cases we've had reported, the victims tagged the girl hitchhiker as a blonde, long hair. 4 of them say she was a brunette with a short hairdo. 2 of them tell us the girl had red hair, long.
She's using wigs. That's what we figured. We checked every place in town where she could have rented or bought them. No leads.
What about some of the bigger supply houses out of town?
We've started in checking them. It'll take a little time.
And you've got practically nothing on the woman.
Same gun, .45 Colt. Lee Jones examined the bullet they took out of Maloney's spine.
How's he doing?
Not good. The bullet smashed his spinal cord. His legs are paralyzed.
When do we stop her?
Yeah?
Romero?
Hi, Chief. Captain.
What have we got?
Pulled the packages on 2 possibles in this woman hold-up thing. It's no good, Joe.
Why not? What about that Allen dame?
Jail in Kansas City? I called him. Been in for a month.
And the other one?
Catherine Collins. I checked Seattle. Been in the hospital up there for the past 3 months in TB ward.
Where does that leave you, Friday?
Right back where we started. No leads and no suspects.
All right, Walker. Starting tonight, we cover every street and alley in the central area until we get that woman. We'll order up more men and more detectives from the Metropolitan Division.
Right, Chief.
Get out more decoy cars.
Have the area covered from sundown till sunrise until further notice. Get that woman.
Right. Come on, Joe.
Hot shot.
I'll get it.
At 211 and shooting at Gatewood and Cameron. At 211 shooting at Gatewood and Cameron.
Let's go. The name on his driver's license said William Gillespie. We found him 50 feet from the corner of Gatewood Alley and Cameron Street. His face and head bore the marks of a vicious beating. There was a single bullet wound in his left shoulder. He was conscious when we arrived. Chief of Detectives Brown, Captain Walker, and Ben checked the area for physical evidence. I spoke briefly with the victim before he was placed on a stretcher and carried to the ambulance. On the way, he lapsed into unconsciousness. I went over to where Ben was standing with Chief Brown and Captain Walker.
Take a look, Joe. Captain found over there near the lamppost.
Yeah.
45 shell casing, same as the others.
How's Gillespie, Friday?
Doc says he'll be all right. Badly beaten.
Tough dame. She really works him over.
Wonder what makes a woman do things like this.
What makes a man do it? William Gillespie was taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. The shell casing, which we had found at the scene, was taken to Lee Jones at the crime lab for examination. It compared with the others. Jones confirmed that the markings on the bullet, which had wounded Gillespie, matched those on the bullet which had been taken from Maloney's back. Both bullets had been fired from the same gun. The Dragnet operation for the woman bandit went on. The men in the special detail covered every street and alley in the central area from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. the following morning. During the next 5 days, 11 suspects were picked up and brought in for questioning and then released after the victims failed to identify any of them.
Well, at least we got her stopped temporarily. She hasn't pulled a caper for almost a week.
Yeah, that doesn't bring us any closer to her. I don't know about you, but it's got me beat. 17 jobs, and she's as free today as she was before she started.
Joe, Ben, what'd you find?
Nothing. The last 4 women we questioned were clear.
What about the other men on the case, Ed? Did they get anything?
Baxter and Olson are down at the Record Bureau. Be in a minute. They've been out talking to some of the victims again. Tough one.
I've been thinking, how about a composite picture? We got enough to work with?
Artist in the crime lab's working up a couple of sketches now. A lot of guesswork.
What about the descriptions of the clothes the girl wears? Anything there we could start on?
No, other than the fact that she wears flashy clothes.
Hi, Olson.
Hi.
Any luck?
Not much. None of the victims have a very good idea what the dame looked like. Tall, good-looking, nice figure, that's all.
Nothing out of the ordinary, huh?
Well, some of them said she had kind of an unusual voice. Soft, low. That's about all they could remember.
That's not much help.
She's been described in 3 different outfits, is that right?
Yeah, green dress with a pink coat, white dress, dark blue jacket, bright red sweater, and a brown skirt. Always carries a dark brown alligator handbag. Shoes to match. No hat.
Not much of a wardrobe, is it?
Maybe that's why she took up robbery.
Now, look, let's get on this thing. We've been chasing this woman for almost a month now, and she's still got the run of the town. How long's it going to take us?
If we only had a lead that was worth something.
Find it. It's there someplace. I've never reached a thief yet without digging for him.
I'll get it. Robbery, Olson. Yeah. Right, Andy. I'll tell him. Anderson and burglar Joe wants to see you and Ben.
Thanks. Captain?
That's all.
Come on, Ben.
Yeah. I'd like a day off, wouldn't you? We'll get one when we get this dame.
Right, Ed.
This thing isn't doing much for the skipper.
It's not doing much for our time off either, is it?
That fire department's got the racket. 24 hours on, 24 off.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they get 3 days off in a row.
That's what you keep telling me. Here we are.
Joe, Ben?
Andy, what do you got?
Checking back on a job out in Hollywood. Heard you were having troubles. Came across this thing. Thought it might help you out.
What's that, Ann?
One of the picture studios had a burglary about a month ago. Thief got in the wardrobe department, then next door in the makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see. Here's some of the stuff taken. Dress, coat. Oh, here, you can read it.
Okay, thanks. Mm-hmm. Red sweater, brown skirt.
Hey, look down here, Joe.
Where?
Right here.
Oh, yeah. Took 2 makeup kits and 4 wigs.
2 blondes, 1 redhead, 1 brunette. That's it.
Any leads on this job?
Not so far, no. We got one thing to go on, a single footprint, size 9.
Pretty large size for a woman.
I didn't say it was a woman. Print was made by a man's shoe.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Those words are echoing across the country. Yes, Fatima has more than doubled its sales because Fatima smokers are telling their friends it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And why?
Because Fatima contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild.
So, for a much different, much better flavor and aroma, smoke Fatima.
One of the most popular misconceptions of the working detective as offered by the fiction writers is the picture of a man with amazing talents for detecting evidence, analyzing human behavior and motives, and then, almost as if by magic, fitting all the pieces together to form the solution of the crime. The real-life picture is a little different. The working detective has a job. In a sense, it's a practical and down-to-earth job as baking bread or practicing law. It's his job to protect citizens and apprehend criminals, and it's a job he doesn't do alone. To assist him in collecting and analyzing evidence, he has the aid of the crime laboratory. To help him identify oddities in suspects or possible suspects, he has the Record Bureau, latent fingerprints, the statistician's office, the ballistics department. A battery of men and machines to aid him in reaching conclusions based on fact. Tuesday, October 9th, 9 p.m. For the past 8 hours, Thaxter and Olson from robbery and Ben and I had been requesting all of the 16 victims of the woman bandit. We asked them one question. Could their assailant possibly have been a man dressed as a woman? The majority didn't think so. Those that did weren't very sure. We followed the lead through. At 9:25 p.m., we checked in and headed down the hall for the stats office.
Do you think it was a man dressed as a woman?
I don't know.
One male footprints, pretty slim odds.
Maybe the machines here can tell us.
Hello, Sergeant.
Back again, Ethel. Can you make a run for us tonight?
9:25. Sure, I think so.
Now, here's the dope right here.
I'm going to try another angle, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see. Male Caucasians. About 5 feet 8 or 9, 130 to 135 pounds. Feminine features. Size 9 shoe. Impersonating women, robbery, and assault.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Armed, 45 automatic. M.O. Hitchhikes, rides, and robs drivers.
How soon do you think you can have it for us?
Well, we'll make the run on the collator. Have to punch up the master first with all this information and let the machine work the cards. I don't think I'll have it for you much before 11. That all right?
Fine, yes.
We'll check back a little before 11 then, huh?
They'll be ready.
Good. Come on, Ben. Did you call your wife after dinner?
Yeah. Wish I hadn't. She's mad as a hornet.
What's the matter?
Kid's having a birthday party tomorrow, and I forgot to order the cake.
What's she going to do for the party? Bake one?
She have to.
And she pulled this gun on me and told me to stop the car. Well, I'm telling you, Captain, I just grabbed that gun and slapped that kid just as hard as I could.
Hold it just a minute, will you, please, Collins? This man's name is Emil Collins. Mr. Collins is Sergeant Friday, Sergeant Romero.
How do you do?
How are you?
I was just telling the captain here, I'm down here on a vacation. I'm from Sacramento, South Sacramento. I was driving down your Figueroa Street about half an hour ago and picked up this girl hitching a ride, and she tried to rob me.
Collins took the gun away from her, subdued the girl, and brought her in.
Where is she now?
Interrogation room. Thaxter and Olson are with her.
The description match?
Not too close.
Sounds like you didn't have too much trouble with her, Mr. Collins.
Well, now that I come to think of it, maybe I didn't. When she pointed that gun, I just grabbed for it and slapped her as hard as I could. Sure took the starch out of her.
Who is the girl? Any identification?
None. Thaxter and Olson haven't been able to get anything out of her. You want to try?
Sure.
What do you think, Skipper?
You tell me. See if you can make her talk. I'll have a stenographer take Mr. Collins' report.
Okay. Glad to meet you, Mr. Collins.
It's a pleasure. I'm only down here for a vacation, but if you need me, just call.
You bet we will, thanks.
How do you figure that one?
I don't know. Let's see what the girl has to say. Olson?
Joe, I want to talk to you before you go in.
Sure.
Did you finally get her to talk?
Well, Thaxter did. Pretty sure she's not the one we're after.
What's her story?
Said she read about this woman bandit in the paper, decided to try her hand at it, needed money.
Yeah?
Claims her husband left her. She's pregnant, needs the dough for a hospital.
She live here?
Off the coast, Monterey. Got in town 4 days ago, staying at the YWCA. We checked there. She's not lying.
You call Monterey?
Yeah, they confirmed it. She left there last Wednesday night. She's not the one.
Where do we go from here?
You'll take care of having her booked, huh, Olson?
Yeah, as soon as we get a station.
Okay, fine.
Friday, Ben, this way. Hustle it. You too, Olson.
What do you got, Ed?
4th and Lucas, 211 shooting. Let's go.
Any details?
Yeah. A tall blonde with a gun. Come on.
The woman bandit's 18th victim was a truck driver. His name, Harry Reese. His story differed a little from that of the first victim. The woman was hitchhiking near Alvarado and 3rd Street. He gave her a ride. She robbed him at gunpoint, slugged him, and then shot him through the left shoulder. He described her as tall, blonde, attractive, and well-dressed.
Guess I should have known better. Remember reading about the dame in the papers. You're sure that the person who held you up was a woman? I don't get you.
What he means is you don't think it could have been a man dressed like a woman.
Oh, no, I'm sure of that. No guy ever looked that good to me.
All right, Mr. Reese. We'll check with you later at the hospital.
Okay.
Let them get through, will you? Just move aside one side, please.
We keeping that truck cleared?
Yeah, Olson's got a couple of men watching it. He's going over it.
Same old story. Just another version.
Don't you think she's spreading it pretty thin? Her luck can't last forever.
It's got me beat, how she always manages to disappear without a trace.
Yeah. No, Ben, this way, over here.
Yeah, okay.
What do you got?
Better hustle it. 4 blocks down on coal factory shooting. Just came in on the car radio.
Let's go. Slide over, Joe.
Yeah. Okay, hit the sign, Ben.
Yeah.
The crowd watching.
All right, Skipper.
That all that came over, Ben, a shooting?
That's all they said. See the cab driver, ambulance shooting.
She's working real fast.
What's the address for now?
3rd and East Flower Hotel. Hold on. This is it coming up.
Should be to the right here. Yeah, take a right. That must be it up ahead. I can't see. What's that sign say?
Edgemar Hotel for young women.
Here's a cab driver.
Officer's right over here.
Hey, looks like blood stains to me here all over the sidewalk.
Yeah, I guess it couldn't have happened any more than 5 or 10 minutes ago. I had this fare, see, picked her up at 4th and Bixel, and I drove her here. She paid the fare and got out.
Yeah, go on.
I was about halfway down the block when I heard a shot. At least it sounded like one. And when I looked back, this dame was down on one knee near the door to the hotel here, and by the time I backed up there, she was gone.
And you noticed the blood, huh?
That's right, yeah. I figured I better call somebody.
Can you tell us what the girl looked like?
Oh, not bad at all. Blonde, tall, pretty girl, nervous.
But you didn't see where she went?
No, but I didn't.
I'll get the driver's name and address. Joe, you and Ben, see if you can follow that trail. Stuff's all over the place.
Right. Over this way, Ben.
Yeah. It's not hard to follow.
Down this alley between the buildings.
How does this figure?
I don't know. Let's find out. Here we go. All the way back here. You got your flashlight?
Oh, yeah. Here it is.
Yeah, this way. Come on.
This must be the rear of the hotel.
Oh, look. The stains lead over this way to the back door here.
Let me try.
All right. Okay, inside.
Still following?
Yeah. Careful. Up these stairs.
Yeah. Second floor. What's the matter? Did you lose him?
No. Just a minute.
See anything?
Yeah. Stains lead on up the stairs here. Let's go.
I just happened to think. This is a woman's hotel.
And they ought to keep the back door closed. Come on. 3rd floor. Let's hold it.
What is it?
Thought I saw a door open down the hall.
See anybody?
No. Let's go. This way.
It's an easy trail to follow.
Now, this is it. They stop here at this door. That doesn't sound like a woman.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah, try the door first. Easy.
It's locked.
All right, come on, together now. Let's hit it.
Yeah, all right. Watch it, Joe!
All right, you.
I got the gun.
Yeah. Oh, we found what we came for. Look.
Still got the clothes on. Blonde wig, makeup, everything.
Please, help me. My leg. Call an ambulance.
It's on the way. Take it easy.
Have a look, Joe. The wigs, full makeup kit, clothes, living in a woman's hotel. The works.
It was an accident. You never would have got me. I dropped the gun. It went off. You never would have got me.
Yeah, that's right, mister.
It was an accident.
You better get the boss in here. I'll stay with Glamour Boy.
Yeah, okay.
And Ben.
Yeah?
Leave the door open, will you? House rules.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 14th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 79, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
They find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
The welfare and security of your home and your family is a subject of national importance next week, National Crime Prevention Week. The efficiency of your local police department is dependent upon your attitude toward your police officer. Not just 1 week out of the year, but every day in the year. He wants your cooperation. He needs your cooperation for the enforcement of your laws. Help your officer to help you to live in a peaceful, orderly community. National Crime Prevention Week costs you nothing, just your cooperation.
James Harold Sutter, alias the Bandit Queen, was tried and convicted on several counts of assault with attempt to commit murder and robbery of the first degree. He was sentenced to the term prescribed by law. While serving his time in the state penitentiary, he was stabbed to death by another inmate. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Hear Morton Downey tonight on NBC.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to bunco detail. An expert confidence man has resumed operations in your city. His criminal record dates back 35 years. He's a master in the art of the gentle swindle. Your job, stop him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So, enjoy Fatima, the best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, July 28th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch at a bunco detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the record bureau, and it was 10:45 a.m. when I got to room 38, bunco fugitive detail.
Friday?
Captain? They're bringing him in now.
Sit down.
Thanks. There's the mama sheet on him.
Oh, Gentleman Wallace. I thought he was out of our hair for good.
So did I. The list turned up. I heard he was working in New York.
Look at the package on this guy. Feels like a good-sized dictionary.
Yeah. Check the date of his first arrest there.
June 2nd, 1913. He's been in and out of jail all over the country.
Blaine County, Oregon, forgery. Bum check beef, San Francisco, 1914. Embezzlement, Santa Ana. Parole violation, Seattle, Portland. More checks, Reno. Billings, Montana, forgery, 1920. Dayton, Ohio, Pittsburgh, New York, grand larceny. Bunko Raps, Las Vegas, Cleveland, Chicago.
That's only the first page. There's a couple more there.
Yeah, reads like a novel.
Just about as long.
What's the story on Wallace this time? What have we got?
We reached a couple of used car dealers Saturday. Took them for $2,000 each, and we can't touch him.
Why not? How'd he work it?
Well, Saturday afternoon, he went to a car lot on the corner of South 3rd and Washington. He bought a 1948 Lincoln sedan.
Mm-hmm.
Showed him his identification, wrote a check for $1,500 for a down payment, and drove away.
Another bum check deal.
That's a little more than that. About 45 minutes after he left, he drove into another used car lot 2 blocks away from the place where he bought the Lincoln.
Yeah.
Told the salesman there that he didn't like the car and he wanted to trade it in on another one.
Mm-hmm.
The salesman offered him $900 less than he paid for it. Wallace accepted and offered him a personal check to cover the balance.
And the salesman went for it?
Almost. Wallace seemed so anxious to get rid of the car that the clerk got suspicious, but it was late Saturday and he couldn't call the bank on Wallace's check.
So he called the place where Wallace bought the car.
That's right. They found out that the sale was made less than an hour before and that Wallace had given them his personal check for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 2 used car dealers got on the phone, decided that Wallace was pulling a fast hustle, called a cop, and had him jailed.
Mm-hmm.
Hold that light a minute, will you?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Well, then what?
Well, when the banks opened Monday morning, they called about Wallace's account. He had enough money in to cover both checks. Wallace got a lawyer and threatened suit against the 2 car dealers. He had both of them cold. They settled out of court for $2,000 apiece.
Quick deal. Sounds like a master.
He's been grifting for 35 years. Knows the con game any way they want to play it. We can't even book him on a vag charge. He's got a job.
And who's he working for?
Plastic outfit out in Pasadena. Salesman.
Is he registered under 5238?
He is.
No, just a minute. Yeah? All right, send him in. Romero, he's got Wallace with him.
Oh.
Captain?
Ben?
Wallace, this is Captain Bryce.
Captain, I'm very happy to know you. I've heard a lot about you.
Yeah.
Sergeant Friday, how are you?
We'd like to talk to you, Wallace. Sit down.
Oh, well, thanks. It's warm out today.
Mm-hmm.
Perspiring. Now, what is it I can help you gentlemen with? Always glad to cooperate.
You don't have to give us a build-up, Wallace. We're not buying.
You know me better than that, Sergeant. No point in making this visit an unpleasant one. Cordiality, that's a secret. My mother always used to tell me that. She used to say...
Look, mister, you're not here to get the keys to the city hall. You're here for investigation.
I'm here out of courtesy, Captain. My lawyer informed me I didn't have to come. I don't believe in making enemies, that's all.
For a guy that's not trying, you've done pretty well, haven't you? Now, how long do you plan to stay here in town?
Los Angeles is my home. It's my place of business.
That's fine with us, Wallace, just as long as it's honest. Now, let me hand you a piece of advice. You try copping any more jobs in this town, and we're going to lean on you, understand?
I don't think I do understand, Captain. The incident with the used car dealers, I hope that isn't what upset you.
You guessed it, and it better be the last caper you try around here for a long time.
I had every right to take action against those car dealers. False arrests. They humiliated me. They damaged my reputation.
Here's your reputation, Wallace. 35 years of it. 10 jail terms, larceny, bunco, forgery.
Have you ever heard of rehabilitation, Sergeant?
Oh, yeah.
I did my time. I don't owe them a day. I've got an honest job. I've been off the grift for years now.
And take a hint, Wallace. Stay off. You'll do better.
That's all, Wallace. Just remember, the next time we tag you, you're going to fall hard. You got it straight?
Captain, I've been square since I got to town. I'm not switching. Is that it?
That's all.
Well, that wasn't so bad. Would you gentlemen care to have some lunch with me at the club? Just a snack?
No, thanks.
Sure, I can't persuade you. Club's just up the street. Fine food.
Some other time, Wallace. Goodbye.
Well, goodbye, Sergeant. Goodbye to you, Captain.
Yeah.
Well, we gave him the word.
I don't know how much good it's going to do.
What do you think, Skipper?
There are 2 things about grifters. They never retire and they never change. Watch him.
For the next 4 months, Charles Wallace was kept under surveillance. From his daily actions, there was nothing to indicate that he'd returned to his former profession of confidence man. From experience, we knew it was too good to be true. For a man who had worked the con game from every conceivable angle for as long as Wallace had, chances of his going straight amounted to less than 1 in 1,000. Just as a dope addict is a slave to drugs, the full-fledged con man or grifter is obsessed with the idea of swindling for a living. He loves his work and he takes pride in it, just as much as a doctor, a lawyer, or any legitimate professional man. He has a life and a code of ethics all his own, even has his own language. The grifter's victims are wealthy, middle class, and poor, and many more than the average citizen imagines. Wednesday, December 1st, 1 p.m. Ben and I had lunch and checked back in at the office.
Food's getting better at the cafeteria, don't you think?
Well, beef stew is pretty good. You got an extra coat hanger in your locker?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here you are.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Conlon.
Joe, did you see this report the post office detail sent over?
You mean that Lonely Hearts ad?
No, this is a different one. Beale Twist.
How do you mean, Harry? Let me look, huh?
Here. Barney Grant. That's the name he uses anyway. A couple of weeks ago, he planted a small want ad in the newspapers around town. Been cleaning up ever since.
How'd he work him?
Here, take a look at the ad he was running.
Remember, tomorrow is the last day to send your dollar to Box 565, Main Post Office, Los Angeles. Was that all?
That's all it took. Last couple of days, I've been getting about 40 letters a day from people in this city.
With $1 in each one.
Ad doesn't promise a thing. Just send your dollar. People send them.
They picked the guy up, Harry?
He called for the last batch of letters 2 days ago. Probably pulled out. Postal inspectors checked the address he gave when he applied for the box. They never heard of him there.
Barney Grant. That sound familiar to you, Ben?
A little, yeah.
Maybe R&I has a package on it.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, see you a minute?
Right, Captain. Ben, you and Conlon want to check that name through R&I? I'll be in with the skipper.
Yeah, okay, Jack.
Friday, close the door, will you?
Sure.
This is Mr. Sawyer. He's with the Western Central Railroad, Sergeant Friday.
Sergeant?
How are you?
It's about Wallace, Friday. Mr. Sawyer has a complaint against him. We've got the crime report.
Gentleman Wallace?
Yeah. You want to fill him in, Mr. Sawyer?
Well, Sergeant, I'm employed as a standards engineer for the Western Central Railroad. Wallace first approached me about a month ago. He said he was an inventor, and he was working on plans of a new type of air brake for use on railroad cars.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
He said he'd conceived the idea, but that he needed more time and money to perfect his invention. He told me I'd share in half of the profits he got from his idea. It sounded more than fair.
How much money did you give him?
All I had in my savings account, $3,000. I talked it over with the wife, and the idea looked real good on paper.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to make too much money for myself out of this, but I thought if I could get a hold of this braking system, it would certainly help the company out.
Mm-hmm. He took your money, and you haven't heard from him since.
Well, I presented the plans to the chief specifications engineer in our eastern office.
Yeah?
I got an answer yesterday, airmail. Our New York office has been working for 2 years on exactly the same set of brake plans.
And how do you get a hold of them?
From the Patent Bureau in Washington.
Oh,
the company has a patent pending on a new device.
It's all legal, isn't it?
Yes, yes. He simply got the information from them, drew up an exact copy, and submitted them to me.
He sold you an invention that your company already owned.
Yes, sir. And I'm out $3,000.
You know where Wallace might be now?
We've checked the boarding house where he was staying. He left there last night. No forwarding address, nothing.
We've got an all-out points bulletin on him. Do everything we can.
Well, thank you, Captain. Sergeant Friday. You have my card. If there's anything I can do to help, please call.
All right, Mr. Sawyer. Goodbye.
So long.
I know what we're looking for, Joe.
Oh, let's see.
What's that, Romero?
On that phone he had the post office detail reported this morning. Checked the name Barney Grant through the crime index. That's the name the guy used.
Yeah?
Oh, this is the package on Gentleman Wallace.
That's right. His alias list goes for 3 pages. Read them again.
Charles French, Walter Grant, Charles Grant, Barney Grant.
That's right. Gentleman Wallace, Barney Grant, same guy.
We got out a local broadcast, an APB, and a radiogram on Charles Gentleman Wallace. For a full month, there wasn't a sign of him. Then we received a communication from the Denver, Colorado Police Department. Wallace had cashed worthless checks in that city in the amount of $2,500, and then he'd skipped town. But before he left Denver, he managed another deal. He sold 30 cartons of electric razors, which 1 did not belong to him, 2 had been stolen from another con man and resold, and 3, the razors didn't work in the first place. The mechanisms had been taken out and replaced with lead weights. Another 60 days passed before we got the next report on Wallace from Cleveland, Ohio. By means of forged papers, 2 well-versed assistants or ropers, and a fast line of talk, Wallace had sold a Cleveland hardware concern a shipment of 10-penny nails, much below the market price. He collected $1,200 as partial payment for the shipment, but it was never delivered. 8 a.m., Monday, March 3rd. Ben and I checked in for work after a weekend off and found a message in the book to report to Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
Chief, you wanted to see us?
Come in.
Yes, sir.
Gentleman Wallace is back in town.
Where'd you get that?
Guy by the name of Patterson. So.
All right, thanks.
Egan, have Patterson brought to the interrogation room.
Is that Mouse Patterson, Skipper?
Yeah, small-time grifter. He was running with Wallace as late as a month ago back in Pittsburgh.
When was Patterson picked up?
Last night at a big hotel out in Hollywood. He was working a fast deal.
You think he came to town with Wallace?
I know he did. One of Conlon's, the foreman, spotted Wallace and Patterson last night. We nabbed Patterson. Wallace slipped away. We figured they'd been operating in and out of the city for about 2 weeks.
Any idea what his angle is this time?
I think so. Take a look at this.
Obituary notices slipped from the newspaper.
How do these tie in?
The con artist takes a dead man's name from the obituary list, finds out a little bit about him, and writes him a letter.
He writes the dead man a letter.
Here's a sample we had reported to us. Read it.
William Radford, 233 South Brookway, Hollywood. Dear Bill, I heard you were sick, and I didn't want to bother you at this time, but believe me, I'm desperate. I don't mean to hound you about the $400 you borrowed from me, but we are having sickness in our family, and I do need the cash. Wait a minute.
Wallace writes a letter like this to a man knowing he's dead, and the family opens it and reads it.
And they figure it's some unpaid debt that they didn't know about, which the deceased owed.
That's right. And the con man collects.
Yeah.
The letter's been showing up right in the middle of funeral arrangements. The family's bereaved, grief-stricken, caught off guard. They don't suspect anybody could be that ruthless, so they pay off if they think there's a legitimate debt.
That sets a new low, doesn't it?
Excuse me. Ron speaking. All right, thanks. I got Patterson in the interrogation room. You 2 question him, find out everything you can.
Right, Chief.
When you're through talking to Patterson, you can start checking on these names.
What's this?
It's a list of all the names that appeared in the obituary column in today's paper.
It's a long list.
Donald and Myberg are checking half. You and Romero take the rest.
Right.
Get to those families before Wallace does.
We went down the hall to the interrogation room and questioned Patterson for an hour and a half. He denied that he even knew Wallace. He refused to tell us anything. We had Patterson return to his cell in the county jail, and Ben and I started up to check with the relatives of the deceased who appeared in the daily obituary list. Adams, Connolly, Craig, Denberg, Donzetti, Edmonds, Fowler. None of them had received letters claiming payment of secret debts owed by the deceased. Well, there are more pleasant jobs than bothering families with an investigation in the middle of their sorrow. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. The 8th name on the obituary list was Foreman, Carl J. He was survived by his wife, Jean. She lived at 5821 Santiago Street out in the valley.
We're sorry to intrude at a time like this, Miss Foreman. We know how you must feel, but it's an important matter.
That's all right, Sergeant. Carl was sick for so long. Probably better this way. What did you want to know?
Since your husband passed away, have you received any letters asking for payments on a debt that he might have owed to somebody?
Funny you should ask. Yes, I have. I got it yesterday.
Yesterday. Do you know the man who wrote the letter?
No, I didn't. I took it for granted that it was someone Carl knew in the Army. Someone he'd borrowed from.
How much money was it he said your husband owed him?
$400. There's a letter over the mantel. I'll get it for you.
Fine.
Here it is.
Thank you. Signs his name Howard Michaels. Has this man contacted you since?
Why, yes, he has. He called me last night and said that he'd just heard about Carl. He apologized for writing the letter. Said he had some medical bills of his own to pay. I went to the bank this morning and got the money for him. Is there anything wrong?
And he's supposed to come here and get the money?
He already has about 2 hours ago. He seemed to be a very good friend of Carl's.
Ben, you got that mug shot on?
Yeah. Yeah, here it is.
I don't understand, Sergeant.
Is this the man who picked up the money this morning?
Yes, that's Mr. Michaels. Don't you think he was Carl's friend?
I don't think so, Miss Foreman.
But no one would do that. Who could be that low?
You're looking at his picture, Miss Foreman. His name's Wallace.
You are listening to Dragnet for the step-by-step solution to an actual police case. Here, step by step, are the reasons why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers from coast to coast.
Step 1. The name Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality. Step 2. Long cigarette smokers discover Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma. Step 3. Long cigarette smokers find Fatima extra mild. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild.
And that's why more and more smokers every day agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Yes, the name Fatima on that gold and yellow package is your insurance of an extra mild smoke.
So, enjoy Fatima, the best of all long cigarettes.
Over the past century, the confidence man here in the United States has earned the dubious title of aristocrat of the underworld. Among small-time thieves, cutthroats, dope peddlers, pickpockets, and similar small fry, he's looked up to and respected. The true con man does not consider himself a crook or a thief in the ordinary sense of the word. He's smooth, courteous, fast-talking, and he lives by his own code of rules. He never uses violence. He makes his living by his wits alone. Generally, he's far above average intelligence, and he's totally without a conscience. He thinks no more of fleecing a day laborer of his wages than he would of fleecing a millionaire. Because of their carefully planned operations, only a handful of confidence men are ever brought to trial. Monday, March 3rd, 6 p.m. Ben and I completed our interviews with the families of the deceased and returned to the office.
Hi, you two have any luck?
Wallace is the guy. We found out that much.
Who identified him?
Woman out in the valley, a Mrs. Foreman. Wallace posed as an old friend of her husband's, took her for $400.
How about Colin and Myberg, Captain? They get anything?
I haven't checked in yet. I'm waiting for him. How does Mrs. Foreman make the payoff to Wallace? Through the mails?
No, sir. He came out and picked up the dough in person.
Yeah, then there's no chance of tracing him through the post office. Seems like he comes up with a new MO every day.
We checked out the rest of the families of the deceased on the list. Chief gave us no leads.
Don Myers and handwriting checked the letter Mrs. Foreman got. The writing matches with the others. It's Wallace.
Hi.
No, Conlon. Myberg with you?
Down the hall in handwriting. Checking a couple letters with Myers.
Do any good today, Harry?
Some. We found 2 families got phony letters through the mail. Same deal, Wallace.
Did he pay off to him yet?
Neither one. Told him to sit tight and call us if the guy should contact him again. Explain the setup.
Who are the people, Harry?
Let's see. One's an old fellow. Oscar Dunn lives over in Highland Park. Other's a pretty wealthy family, Bel Air. Here it is. Elizabeth Secor. She's the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Husband's name, Burton James Secor. Investment broker. Died day before yesterday.
How much of a debt is he supposed to have owed?
The guy in the letter claims $1,200. Signed himself William Kilbright.
The letters mention anything about how the payoff's supposed to be made?
The guy wrote he'd contact him by phone first, then make arrangements to meet him. Both families will call as soon as they hear from him.
Now, if he doesn't change his M.O., we're set.
Count on you and Myberg stick with the family in Highland Park. Make sure they understand perfectly what the setup is. If Wallach makes a contact, be there.
Okay, Cap.
Joe, you and Ben cover the family out in Bel Air.
Okay, you got Secor's address here?
Well, here's a crime report. It's got all the dope.
Good.
Now, I'll grab it. Bunko, fugitive Conlon. Yes, ma'am? When? All right, thanks. We'll take care of it. Secors. Wallace just called him.
What's the pitch?
Wants to pay his respects. He's going to visit him tonight.
7:35 p.m. Monday, March 3rd. Ben and I drove out to Bel Air to the Secor place. It was an English-type mansion with a circular driveway out in front. The wake for Mr. Secor was being held in the living room. The butler showed us into the library where Mrs. Secor was waiting. She told us everything that had transpired since she first received the letter from Wallace following her husband's death. She said Wallace had promised to be at her home promptly at 9 p.m. We waited. 9 p.m. came and went. We told her that if the suspect should call, to make any concessions, to agree to anything in order to set up a meeting with him. At 10 minutes past 10, the phone in the library rang. Mrs. Secor answered it. I listened in on the extension.
I'm terribly sorry, Mrs. Secor. I did want to get out to pay my last respects, but I'm afraid that will be impossible.
Oh, I'm sorry you won't be able to come. I'd like to settle up that debt, the money that Burton owed you.
I do hope you understand, Mrs. Secor. It's very difficult for me to bring up such a subject at this time of your bereavement, but I do have need of the money. You see, it's my wife. She's quite ill, and, well, there are medical expenses to be met.
Oh, I understand. When would you like to come for the money?
Well, would tomorrow be all right?
My husband's funeral is tomorrow.
Oh, I see. Well, where will that be?
At the cathedral on Sunset Boulevard. A requiem mass at St. Mary's at 9 o'clock.
Well, since I don't want to bother you personally anymore, I wonder if it would be possible for you to leave the cash with the head usher there at the church.
Well, yes, all right. I think that would be the best way.
All right, then. Good night, and thank you.
Yes, good night.
I'm sorry. I know that's not easy for you.
That's all right, Sergeant. It's strange, isn't it?
What's that?
One man burns out his whole life making money. The next man spends his time trying to steal it. What does it all mean?
I don't know. We got 2,600 men down in the county jail. They all think they've got the right answer. Tuesday, March 4th, 9 a.m. In St. Mary's Cathedral on Sunset Boulevard, the final rites, the Requiem High Mass, was being celebrated for Burton James Secor. Ben and I were stationed at the rear of the church. Conlon and Myberg, together with 2 other men from Bunko Detail, covered the side exits. An extra detail of men were placed at strategic points around the cathedral. The head usher stood a few feet from the main entrance. With him, he carried a plain manila envelope filled with pieces of newspaper cut to resemble the size of currency, along with a $1 bill. He had instructions to hand over the envelope without question to the person who asked for it.
15 minutes past 9, Joe.
Yeah. I see that head usher all right.
Yeah, I got him spotted.
All right. Pretty good-sized crowd here. Secor must have had lots of friends, huh?
Yeah. Nice choir. Just wondering, Joe.
What's that?
Suppose he doesn't show up?
Well, that's possible. He might have gotten suspicious.
Could be.
What time you got now?
It's 9:20. Yo, look. Uniformed messenger just came in the door.
Yeah. He's looking around. And he's going up to the usher, talking to him.
That's it. Usher gave him the envelope. Messenger's leaving.
I know. Let's hold it. Give him a lead. All right, let's go. All right, let's go, Ben. Don't lose him.
He's getting into that cab.
Come on. Slide over.
You got the cab number?
Yeah, let's move. 10:30 a.m. Ben and I trailed the cab to a bus depot in downtown Los Angeles. We followed the messenger in and watched him check the manila envelope in a key locker. We waited. At 11:45 a.m., another uniformed messenger entered the bus depot, picked up the envelope, and left. We followed him to the Union Railroad station, where he left the envelope at the traveler's aid desk. At 3 p.m., the envelope was still there, unclaimed.
No sign, Joe. What do you think?
It's a pretty fancy switch he's got worked out.
Yeah.
What time's the next train leave?
3:25. Coast limited for San Francisco.
3:21 now. Wait a minute. See that porter over at the desk there?
I'm talking to that girl there. I don't know.
That's it. She's giving him the envelope. Come on.
Yeah. He's heading up the ramp.
Yeah, let's hustle.
You turn up the left?
Yeah, passenger platform, coast limited.
Not much time.
Come on, run. Come on, Ben.
Where'd the porter get on?
Next car. Come on, run. Let's jump.
This way. Through here.
That's the same porter?
Yeah. He's knocking at the door to that compartment, handing him the envelope.
That's it.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's locked.
Knock.
Yes? What is it?
Conductor.
Just a minute.
What is this?
All right, Ben.
Now, look, Sergeant, there's no need for any unpleasantness. Certainly we can sit down and talk this thing over like intelligent human beings.
Grab the luggage, will you, Ben? All right, let's go, Wallace.
Look, wait a minute, please. I'm sure we can come to some agreement. I have plenty of money. Look, right here alone in this envelope, I've plenty. There's only $1 here. The rest is newspaper.
I know.
I've been taken.
So have a lot of people. Let's go.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 23rd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Long cigarette smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Long cigarette smokers find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima, best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Charles Gentleman Wallace was tried and convicted on 4 counts of grand theft and sentenced to the state penitentiary for the term prescribed by law, with holds being placed on him by 4 other states. You have just heard Dragnet, authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet wishes to thank the editors of True Detective magazine for their considerate appraisal of this program. For those of you who may be interested, the behind-the-scenes story of Dragnet appears in the March issue of True Detective.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Tomorrow, hear the Ronald Colmans in the charming series Halls of Ivy on NBC.